It's finally here. The remaster of the best Total War game has come to reclaim its place at the top and prove to everyone that modern Total War games are absolute.
Like that's ever gonna happen. What a load of...
If you're interested in Total War Rome Remastered, then you've probably got two questions on your mind. Is it worth your money, and does it hold up with modern Total War games? Well, here's the 15-second answer. If you expect nothing other than Rome Total War as it was, but prettier, then yeah, it's definitely worth the money, and it doesn't matter if it competes with modern Total War. You know exactly what you're getting and what you're not getting. For everyone else, though, proceed with caution. When Rome Remastered was announced in late March, my hype shot up to levels not seen since Rome 2's announcement a decade ago. In hindsight, that probably should have been a red flag. It was about an hour into my first ever campaign with this game when I had that sinking realization that I was wrong. In my video called How Rome 2 Proved Everyone Wrong, I speculated that Rome Remastered might finally end Rome 2's enduring popularity. But after putting 24 hours into the game, I can safely say that's not going to happen. At least not anytime soon. We've got a lot to cover in this review, so if that sounds good to you, then a like on the video would really help me and the channel out. Let's begin on a high note, the visuals. It's clear that a ton of work went into modernizing and retexturing the visuals in this game. In battle, the unit textures are high resolution and crispy, crispier than Rome 2's by comparison. The buildings look great, and the water looks downright amazing. On the campaign side of things, again, everything looks good, except for the trees. The trees are aliased and stick out like a sore thumb, even on 8x multi-sample anti-aliasing settings. You've probably noticed by now how saturated the colors are in the campaign map, but you can adjust the saturation level in the settings. I've seen some people complaining about it, but personally I love it. I left it at 100% and I never looked back. This is a bright, colorful, stylized game just like the original was, except cranked up to 11. There is a realistic setting for the uniforms, but they're still pretty colorful. Overall, this is a good-looking remaster. It doesn't compare to the newer games, of course, but it didn't need to. There are plenty of great indie games with low poly art styles. This game could easily pass off as a retro-style strategy game released in 2021, especially because they went with that exaggerated color scheme. Stylized games tend to age better visually, it's just the nature of the beast. The original Rome Total War had amazing sound design. The voice acting was over the top and fun, the battle sound effects were meaty and loud, and the soundtrack was track after track of absolute bangers. The remaster's sound design is a mixed bag, unfortunately. They improved the quality of the soundtrack, making it sound better than ever, and the voice acting is just as fun as it was in 04, but the battle sound effects are muffled and often just non-existent. I really hope they fix this because it sucks a lot of the life out of the battles. Like, it's a huge bummer for people like me who love losing winnable battles because I'm zoomed in watching my soldiers get stuck into melee. The pre-battle general speeches, though, are still legendary. They hold up just as good now as they did in 2004. The campaign is surprisingly solid for a 17-year-old game, guys, even better than I remember. City management feels more like Sid Meier's Civilization V than it does modern Total War, and that's a nice breath of fresh air. For those who don't know, every city has unlimited building slots, meaning every city can build every building. There are modifiers for each region, like the availability of mining and the quality of farmland, so there are still some cities that will naturally blossom faster than others, but theoretically every city on the map can become a metropolis, just like in Civ. I could see why they moved away from this system in the new titles. The slot system in the new games forces you to make building choices and specialize your provinces, rather than just letting you have everything everywhere like the Rome 1 system does. Still, there is a sandboxy charm to the Rome 1 system that's just very satisfying to use. It gets a bit tedious late game to mindlessly spam build the same buildings over and over again, but thankfully there's an auto-manage button that can alleviate that tedium. Seriously, the auto-manage features in the campaign are a godsend. CA, bring them back in the newer games. It's a great quality of life feature. Each city has a population number which determines both its taxable income and the number of soldiers that can be recruited from the city. This is one area where the Total War boomers who never shut the hell up about how much better the old games are absolutely right. The population system is simple, intuitive, and so much more immersive than the abstract growth system in Rome 2, Attila, and Warhammer. Thankfully, they brought it back for Three Kingdoms, and it works just as good there as it does here. For such a small, simple feature, it really has an outsized impact on sucking you into the game world and making you care about your cities and your citizens. Until you capture a city and exterminate 90% of the citizens. I found myself enjoying the management of my characters more so in this game than I usually do in Rome 2 and Attila. The traits that characters can acquire are largely the same between both games, but the way that they're acquired feels more natural in Rome 1. There also doesn't seem to be a limit on the number of traits that a character can get, so you can get some seriously jacked up characters, and it's freaking awesome. Like, look at this lazy, lying degenerate I have. He's literally a degenerate. But he also is a social drinker who loves killing my enemies. He has dumpster stats, but I can't help but love him. Also, your characters sometimes get nicknames based on their traits, which again is awesome. I had a faction leader acquire the nickname The Wrathful after he exterminated one too many populations. The role-playing and storytelling elements in the campaign feel better here than they do in the new titles, with the glaring exception of Three Kingdoms. Campaign AI is marginally improved from the original. They can naval invade now, guys. I saw the Celts invade Gaul from Britannia in my Saxon playthrough. Diplomacy is still pretty nonsensical, but at least it's a bit more transparent. All in all, I really enjoyed both the main and barbarian invasion campaigns. The Alexander DLC is still trash, but everybody already knew that. So up to this point in the review, you might be thinking to yourself, wow, none of this sounds that bad. What's with the clickbait title about the game being painfully mediocre? Well, now we're getting into the battles in the user interface, and that's where the game and this review both go off the rails. The battles in this game are not good. The campaign holds up in 2021, but the battles... they rip the nostalgia blinders right off of my face. I found myself missing things from the newer games that I had completely taken for granted. Let me show you what I'm talking about. In Rome 2, when you create a locked group formation and issue an attack order on the enemy line, your soldiers hold their formation as they march forward. Then, when they get within engagement range, they select enemy units to attack in a way that maintains a semblance of a battle line. This is intuitive, it's sort of like an intelligent attack move command, and I use it in every Total War game in almost every battle. Now let's try the same thing in Rome Remastered. Alright, double line sorted, issuing an attack order, looking good. Wait, what the hell is that? Is this some kind of joke? In what freaking universe would you want every single unit in your battle line to suddenly converge on one archer? My cavalry try to run past the enemy cavalry to race the rest of my army to the center point. Thankfully, in this example, I'm using one of the preset formations. Imagine taking the time to meticulously craft your formation, only for this horror show to happen right before your armies engage. I mean, look at this crap. The cavalry and the archers just completely ignore the locked group command. What is the point of this button? Meanwhile, in sieges, the AI doesn't know whether it's coming or going. Like, speaking of formations, what the hell is this? The social distancing formation? The Black Friday when the doors open formation? Look, we all know sieges are notoriously bad in Total War games. That's nothing new. But this game takes the cake. Those gorgeous high-resolution cityscapes may look nice, but they're absolute cancer to fight in. None of this is helped by the UI either. Like, I like the emphasis on minimalism here. But what the heck are these? I hope you brought your electron microscopes. I wouldn't be emphasizing the clunkiness and the pathfinding issues if they were minor things that I could live with. It's really frustrating. I found myself dreading fighting battles in my campaigns, which usually doesn't happen in the newer titles until that late game slog. If they could fix the pathfinding and the group formation locking issues, I'd be satisfied. But Farrell told us that fixing the pathfinding and the AI issues would basically require a full rewrite, and that's outside the scope of what they wanted to do with the remaster. Well, fellas, I'm sorry to say, but you needed to rewrite it. Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition did a full rewrite of their game's AI, and now it has best-in-class AI that can whoop your ass without cheats. That game holds up even without the nostalgia goggles. I promise I don't expect miracles, seriously, but this is unacceptable. This is Rome 2 on release, triremes driving across the ground levels of bad. But wait, there's more. The UI is all over the place. It's an improvement in some areas and a mess in others. Like, I love the addition of being able to send agents on missions just by clicking on them. That's good quality of life. But why is the box so small? Why can't I extend it out so I can see more information at once? Then we got this Three Musketeers thing going on up here, the trifecta. This thing drives me crazy, the triumvirate right here. Why the hell is the alert menu divided into 3 sections, guys? Why? What was wrong with doing it the way every other game in the series does it? Why do I have to click 3 times to see my notifications instead of just 1 time? Look, I don't have an issue with the UI's aesthetic. It's clean. It certainly has more character than Rome 2's. I know people are calling it a mobile game UI or whatever, but I couldn't care less if it was a mobile game UI, or an Xbox UI, or a Switch UI, or a friggin' Sega Genesis UI. I just want a UI that's unobtrusive and functional. So please, get rid of the alert trifecta, Feral. Guys, Rome Total War Remastered isn't horrible or Warcraft 3 Reforged level bad or anything. It's just Rome Total War again. And Rome Total War without fixes doesn't cut it anymore. Not in this day and age. It runs great, it looks great, and it's clear that a lot of work went into it, just not in the areas that needed it the most. I could have lived with potato quality textures, but I can't live with Black Friday formation. What makes it painful is that Feral came so close to greatness here, but just like with another piece of media that I absolutely loved, they didn't stick the landing. If you played the original and you just want that hit of nostalgia, then by all means, get your fix. But for newcomers to the series, or people who've been spoiled by the newer games, I can't recommend it in its current state. It has to compete with games like 3 Kingdoms, Warhammer 2, Shogun 2, and yes, Rome 2. Its campaign is still a lot of fun, but those janky battles cripple what should be those big moments in your campaigns. And for that reason alone, I can tell you that this game will be a Total War game that I play for dozens of hours instead of the hundreds of hours that I thought I would play it for. Time will tell if this game ends up having the comeback story that Rome 2 had. I hope so. If it does, I'll make an updated video and link it down below. Until then though, for me, Total War Rome Remastered is painfully mediocre. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. If you hated it, feel free to leave a dislike. Subscribe to the channel for more Total War content just like this, and comment down below what your thoughts are on the remaster. If you're loving it, that's awesome. I'm happy for you. Like seriously guys, these are video games. Like, we're meant to have fun with them. It's not that serious. Take care everyone, and I'll see you guys in the next one.